A very good morning, students. I hope everybody is doing well and I hope everyone's vacations were well. So let us begin with our revision. Today we will revise Political Science Chapter 3. Why do we need a parliament? I hope everyone knows that why parliament exists in our country. In this chapter, we will try and understand the relation between ideas of participation in decision making and the need for all democratic governments to have the consent of their citizens. What are we going to understand in this particular chapter? We are going to understand how public or people participate in decision making and how our government has become a democratic government. We will also try to see how Parliament enables citizens of India to participate in decision making and control the government, not just decision making children, but also how the control of the government is in the hands of the citizens of India. Okay, thus making it the most important symbol of Indian democracy and a key feature of the Indian Constitution. What is the key feature of the Indian Constitution? That decision making is in the hands of the people of India. The government is democratic only because of the people of India. And how important is the consent of the citizens of India while forming the government? All right. The very first thing that we are going to cover, children, is why should people decide? Now you will think why people are important in a democratic country like India. People during British rule struggled a lot because they did not agree to the most of the decisions taken by the British government. Every citizen, they really struggled a lot during the time of British rule. Okay, and they did not agree to most of the decisions that were taken by the Britishers. Nor all the adults had privilege to enjoy the right to vote. Everyone was not allowed to vote. For example, elderly were not allowed to vote. For example, women were not allowed to vote. Since almost every Indian citizen participated in the freedom struggle and also enjoyed independence, ultimately, definitely, it was obvious to have a democratic government after independence so that people bring up their own representative who could understand their needs. Because everyone participated equally in the freedom struggle. Hence, they deserve to have a democratic government and a government formed by their own selected and elected representative. Hence, it is their right to control the country. Hence, universal adult franchise was introduced where every adult has the right to vote. So after independence, when India got freedom, universal adult franchise was introduced where every adult above 18 years of age was allowed to vote, whether women or children or elderly or the working population of the country and whoever. But the condition was the person has to be above 18 years or 21 years of age. At that time it was 21, but later on again it became 18 years. People those who are above 18 years of age can enjoy the right to vote. Point, who are the representatives? Who people bring up as their representatives? Let us understand. The takeoff point for a democracy is the idea of consent, that is, the desire, approval, and participation of people. Consent just does not include the participation of people, but also it includes the desire and the approval, whether people approve with the person who stands as a representative for them, and whether they want that person to become their representative, and that is the reason participation of people is very important. It is the decision of people that creates a democratic government and decides about its functioning. Okay, so everyone together, all the citizens together, they decide whether the person who is standing as the representative is eligible to become the government or no, to function as a government or no. And hence it is ultimately or indirectly the people of India only who decides the democratic government. People who elect their representatives to the parliament, then one group from among these elected representatives forms the government. One group means there are different parties. So one group who wins the election, okay, the representative of that particular group or party forms the government. The parliament, which is made up of all representatives together, controls and guides the government. Okay, what is parliament? Parliament is a house of people where you have all the representatives stood by the people themselves. Okay, they form the parliament, and the government, which the party which wins the election forms the government along with all the representatives elected. In the sense, people through their chosen representatives form the government and also control it. So indirectly it is we, the people of India, who is actually running the country, who is actually controlling the government of the country, because it is we who has brought up the representative as our leader in the form of prime minister or in the form of any representative who represents our needs, our desires in the parliament. Now let us understand, children, about the role of the parliament. Parliament plays very crucial role. First is to select the national government. Second, to control, guide and inform the government. And third is lawmaking. We will understand each role in detail. Children, let us begin with the very first function or role of the parliament, which is to select the national government. Parliament of India consists of the President, the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. These three are the important elements who work together to run the parliament. For a political party to form the government, they must have a majority of elected MPs. MPs are the member of parliament. Any political party who wants to run as a government need to have the majority of the elected MPs. Parliament is a house of elected MPs, that is member of parliament, who have won and who have been selected as the representative, and that is the reason they are sitting in the parliament in either of the houses as MP. Means they have come up as a representative of people from either of the parties, but only one party rules as a government, but that party needs to have the majority of the MPs, at least half of the population of the MPs which are there in the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Members in Lok Sabha, to have a majority, a party should have at least half the number of the members, that is 543 are the total numbers of all the members sitting in Lok Sabha, and 272 members should be of the ruling party members. The opposition in parliament is formed by all the political parties that are not part of the majority party. Coalition formed, the largest among these parties is called the opposition party. All those people who do not belong to the ruling party are denoted to be as a part of all those MPs. I'm talking about all those MPs who do not belong to any ruling party. They become a part of the opposition party. Okay, and all the opposition party come together and become a whole of opposition people in the House of Parliament. There are two parties only in the House of Parliament. One is the ruling party, one is the opposition party. The one who wins with the maximum majority of the MPs is the ruling party, and all other MPs who do not belong to that particular party become the opposition party. most important functions of Lok Sabha is to select the executive. Okay, one of the most important function what the Lok Sabha plays is to select the executive. The executive is a group of persons who work together to implement the laws made by the parliament. So ultimately executive is the government itself, as in if the prime minister is the leader of the country, that does not mean he is the only leader of the country. He has a group of people known as executive. Okay, they work together for creating laws, for working towards any problem of the country, and for implementing those laws in order to run the country. The Prime Minister of India is the leader of the ruling party in the Lok Sabha. From the members of parliaments, that is MPs, who belong to her party, the Prime Minister selects ministers to work with her to implement decisions. Okay, so all the MPs that belong to that particular party, that is the ruling party, okay, all other functions are also provided to the MPs who belong to that particular ruling party. The prime minister is the leader of that ruling party. Okay, also he is a leader in the Lok Sabha. Okay, and he ultimately forms the government, and all other functions what he want to allot is given to the MPs who belong to his particular party. Different ministries are provided to people, to the MPs who belong to their particular party, that is the ruling party. If a single party fails to form a government with a majority, all the parties come together and form a coalition government. In case if election fails, means if the ruling party if there is no ruling party, not a single party wins the election, then what happens? Then all the parties that were there, okay, in competition, they form a government. Okay, and that government is called as a coalition government. For a time period, every party together works as a government, and in that case there is no ruling party, no opposition party. All right, children, now let us learn something about Rajya Sabha. Rajya Sabha functions primarily as the representative of the state of India in the parliament. Okay, Rajya Sabha acts as the representatives of the state. Okay, all the states that belong to our country. Okay, it acts as the representatives of the state in the parliament of the whole India. The Rajya Sabha can also initiate legislation, and a bill is required to pass through Rajya Sabha in order to become a law. So any bill, okay, that occurs and is discussed in the Lok Sabha, okay, that is initiated by the ruling party, first it goes through Rajya Sabha. All right, and people of Rajya Sabha also must have their consent regarding that particular bill, and only that time it becomes a law. Otherwise, any act, if it's not passed by the Rajya Sabha, no law can become an act. Therefore, it has an important role of reviewing and altering the laws initiated by the Lok Sabha. So, unless and until any law that is initiated by the Lok Sabha cannot be passed unless and until it passes through the members of the Rajya Sabha. Okay, any changes, any alteration is required, or if people of Rajya Sabha are not happy with the bill that is passed, okay, it does not become an act unless and until there is a consent of the people of Rajya Sabha regarding that particular bill. The members of Rajya Sabha are elected by the elected members of the legislative assemblies of various states. Okay, so who are the members of Rajya Sabha? They are the elected members of the legislative assemblies of the states. Okay, all the legislative assemblies of the states, all the elected members, okay, automatically become the member of Rajya Sabha. There are 233 elected members plus 12 members nominated by the president. Okay, 233 are the members already, and 12 members are separately elected by the, that is nominated, not elected, they're nominated by the Rajya Sabha's president. Yes. Next function of the parliament is to guide, control and inform the government. The parliament, while in session, begins with a question hour. Now, what is the question hour, children? Over here, what happens, children? Any session automatically begins with a question hour. Now, this question hour is a chance for all the MPs, okay, whether they belong to the ruling party or they belong to the opposition party. Mainly they belong to mainly it is an opportunity for those MPs who belong to the opposition party. In this question hour, they have an opportunity to ask questions. To ask questions to whom? To the government, means to the ruling party's leader, the Prime Minister, and the MPs of that ruling party, that whatever queries that the people have brought into them, okay, because they have also been the representative, as and that is the reason they got selected and they've become the member of the parliament. Okay, so people bring out queries to them and they put the same queries in front of the ruling party. What is happening with the development of the country? What is happening with, for example, now pandemic was going on, so what is the ruling party has what type of measures ruling party has taken to tackle with these particular situations such as pandemic, or you say any panic situation that occurs suddenly in the country. So what measures the government has taken to take care of the people of the country. Okay, if not that, various other reasons are there to put questions in front of the ruling party's leader, that is the Prime Minister. So it is an opportunity for both, for the opposition party as well as for the ruling party. For the opposition party means to keep on questioning the leader of the ruling party. Okay, and how is it an opportunity for the ruling party leader? That it comes to know what problems people are facing and they get an opportunity to work on those problems. Okay, so it is the best of the functions of the parliament which controls the government. Okay, if the government is trying to run like how it wants to run, so parliament controls this particular action of the government, because the parliament tells them that all other representatives are too present in the parliament and they have queries which are raised from the people of the country, and these queries have to be solved only by the ruling party members, mainly the Prime Minister. So it is an opportunity for both, for the opposition party also as well as for the ruling party also. Okay, they come to know what kind of problems people are facing and how are they going to work on it. All right, and this is how this particular function is one of the best functions of the parliament, because the government remains under control. It remains informed, all right, whether what to do, where and how to do, all right, and for whom to do. Children, another important function is the lawmaking, but this particular function will be studied in detail, will be revised in detail in the next chapter, because that is a different and a very crucial task performed by the parliament when it comes to lawmaking. Now children, you will imagine who these people are in the parliament, how they've got elected and what background they belong to. So let us understand. Who are the people in the parliament? Parliament now has more and more people from different backgrounds. For example, there are more rural members as also members from many regional party. So people belonging to rural areas, people belonging to different regional parties, people belonging to urban areas. So parliament has a variety of people as their members. There has also been an increase in political participation from the Dalits and the backward classes. Okay, so for Dalit, backward classes people, Parliament has opened their gates and they can become members of Parliament openly. Some seats are reserved in Parliament for SCs and STs. Who are SCs and STs? Scheduled caste people and scheduled tribe people. They belong to the backward class of the society, and the society, though it neglects them, but the political parties and the government does not neglect them, and Parliament completely gives them a full right to become the member of it. This has been done so that the MPs elected from these constituencies will be familiar with and can represent Dalit and Adivasi interest in the Parliament. So why this is done? So that even demands and needs of Dalits or the tribal people could be heard in the Parliament, and for that they need a representative who belong to their own particular caste or region or religion. Similarly, it has more recently been suggested that there should be reservation of seats for women, like how there has been a suggestion for the reservation of seats for Dalits and scheduled tribe people. Similarly, there is a suggestion for a reservation of seats for women. This issue is still being debated. 60 years ago, only 4% of MPs were women, and today it is just above 11%. So women are still fighting for their seats in the Parliament. Okay, they're fighting for equal, at least 50% seats of the Parliament, because half of the population is with women only. Okay, half of the population of our country is because of the women, and we women have been demanding to have at least 50% or equal seats, okay, in the Parliament as a representative or as MPs. But 60 years ago we had only 4% of seats available, and today we have more than 11%. That's it. So we women have been fighting for more and more seats in the Parliament. Okay, and someday it will definitely get success. So this is a small share when you consider the fact that half the population of women, half of the population of the country is women, belongs to women. Okay, but still we need to fight for our seats and for our rights in the country. All right, so these are the people of the Parliament who form the Parliament. People belonging to different regional parties, different regions, people belonging to rural areas, urban areas, people belonging to scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, and people belonging to different gender, that is women. They all together form the Parliament, and they work towards different problems that are created, that are brought up, okay, that are discussed in the Parliament related to people. And because we, the citizens of India, are ultimately the government, and we represent these people to have a seat in the Parliament and to discuss problems related to us and not theirs. Okay, they need to think about us, we the people of India, because we have selected you, we have elected you, and we have made you sit in the Parliament so that you discussed about the problems that we are facing and discuss about the problems that the country as a whole is facing. All right, and you come out with a better solution so that we the people of India must feel proud to select you and elect you as our representative. All right, so we end up with the revision of this particular chapter, why do we need a Parliament. Thank you children, and all the best for your exams.